Okay.
Hey team, Anthony Ogogo here, founder and head coach of Ogogo Fitness, with my head of nutrition, the legend that's Matthew Albert, the wonderful Mr. David Webb. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. How about yourself?
I am very good. You look so bloody different now compared to you were 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was, things were not good to start off with.
So
So
let's tell the fine people watching this, how much weight have you lost in the last 6 months?
I think it's around about 10.5 kilos since the beginning of January until now.
10.5 kilograms, 23 pounds. You came into us 89 kilograms, 196 pounds, and you're leaving 78 kilograms, 173 pounds. Young man, take a bloody bow. Well done, buddy. Well done.
Thank you.
So let's dive straight into it, mate. Why did you want to join? What were you feeling like? What are some of the struggles and the pain points you were experiencing in your life to want to join this plan?
So biggest struggle was definitely discipline, especially with food. Even though I knew really what was good or better for me and wasn't so good for me, just wasn't making very good choices. You know, I think I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I was basically sort of a little bit sort of like, well, if I want the cake, I'll just have the cake. So what? Time goes on. Next thing you know, you're looking in the mirror and you don't even recognise yourself. It's just like, who is this guy staring back at me? Because it's not the guy I remember.
Because that guy you remember earlier in your younger days, athlete, kickboxer, an athlete. And then life happens. Men come into their 30s and towards the end of their 30s and their 40s and so on and so forth. And one often feels a million miles away from the athletic version of themselves that they were before. And that's pretty much how you were feeling, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, just complete stranger.
Remember when I got out of shape, when I hurt my eye and I was in a bad place, I remember I'd go for a walk. And for the first time ever, I felt my belly wobble when I walked. And that was weird to me. And that was one of the things, what the hell, I've got a wobbly belly. And that really hit me. Because like you, mate, I was the athlete. I was the boxer. I was the driven. I was in shape. And all of a sudden I wasn't. So for you, mate, how did that show up? Not being the version of you recognize, how did that show up for you?
It was like a little bit what you're saying, like just having just these overhangs in places you shouldn't have overhangs, and clothes getting tighter. You know, there was clothes that were sort of, I got a pair of jeans that were supposed to be baggy around the leg, and next thing you know, they weren't baggy around my leg. But then all of a sudden, like I said, they become skinny jeans. You know, first of all, I was just blaming it on the wrong washing machine setting. But
there's only so much you can blame now. The Chinese manufactured Beko washing machine.
But no, it wasn't that, because I fit back into them in the end. So no, it definitely wasn't the was there a specific moment the you decided to book the call with me? Was there a specific moment that made you go, okay, no, now I've got to do something about this? I mean, obviously at the time I'd come across you on Instagram, and obviously I knew who you were from a previous life, and obviously I didn't know what you were doing in your current life. And then I happened to see it, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Then I was intrigued by the content. I think you reached out to me, and then to start off with, I thought this is just like one of those. I know a lot of people, when they get a new follow, they have like this auto message come through. Thought it was that, and then you suddenly sent me a voice note. I was, oh, hang on a second, that definitely sounds like him. So I thought, well, he's obviously real and serious about what he does. So let's hear what this guy has to say.
People say that to me all the time. I might get maybe 15, 20 followers a day. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm going for a walk to the shop, so I'm sitting on the toilet, it's not that big of a deal to say 15 hellos, right? And most people reply and have a little bit of a chat. And if I can help, hey, I can help. So people say to me, you've got 90,000 followers. Why are you messaging me? Well, I'm not messaging everyone at the same time. I've had followers for 10 years. I mean, like 15 new people is enough to say hello to and see if I can help. And obviously, we have with you. Now, let's bring head of nutrition, Matthew Albert, into the chat. Young man, David smashed it, right? Like, talk to us. What has he done so well? Why has he got such an amazing result?
I think as David said at the start, like this wasn't necessarily anything new to him. I think the biggest thing was the realization that you have to do it. The realization that it's not really going to just get done itself it's more of a mindset shift with you, the way you approach yourself and you approach your health. And sometimes you do just need a couple of weeks and a couple of months of being in that zone of thinking, all right, if I actually dedicate time and energy, what result can I get? You get a good result, and it helps to cement that these are healthy habits. These are things that I want to be implementing day to day. So yeah, I don't think it was teaching you anything new. You've always enjoyed training. As you said, you used to do kickboxing. You've always enjoyed pushing yourself. I think it was just about getting maybe the belief back that actually, I can do this, bit of structure, bit of organization. And you start to realize that it's within my power 100%. And I actually feel a net massive positive in my life for doing it. So it's a no-brainer at the end.
100%.
What are some of the biggest things, working myself, Matthew, the team, what are some of the biggest things you think that you've benefited from being here for the last 6 months?
Definitely having the accountability and being called out on the, I won't swear, on the nonsense that we might tell ourselves some days. And obviously, I don't know if you remember, Anthony, obviously when we first had the call, I was a little bit hesitant to join because I'd had a bad experience with something else a couple of years prior. And one of those bad experiences was the fact that sort of like, you know, these coaches, et cetera, were in contact with you to onboard you, but then were suddenly just like nowhere to be seen during the process. Now, the biggest difference here was the coaches were always visible. You know, yourself and Matthew and anyone else in the team were always, you know, on the end of the phone, a Zoom, a text message, you know, whatever it may be. That's definitely been the biggest game changer for me, is that actually you can actually sort of like say, look, you know, there's a few things I'm unclear on. Can we just have a call for 10, 15 minutes and just clear this up?
Or 2 hours, Matthew, or 2 hours. There's a bunch of work to do. I've been talking to Dave Wood for the last 2 hours. Fucking 2 hours!
We're having a
I
good
think
chat.
I think it was an hour and 50 minutes, I think it was. Hour and 50 minutes. But with that being said, man, we actually care. As you know, we actually care. Now, why do I work with wonderful coaches like Matthew? Two heads are always better than one. Me and Matthew, generally speaking, pretty much always agree on the things. But, you know, I've got 25 years of elite level experience boxing at the highest level, performing at the highest level, so I come at it a bit different. Matthew's got more experience than me in years in the gym, working with people like hand to hand. So like when you have my knowledge and experience and Matthew's like intellect as well, you get an amazing service. And I'm glad you felt always supported, because I could run this business by myself. I could, right? And I could have loads of people by myself, and I'd make more money, right? I'd have, my margins would be way lower, but your experience wouldn't be as good, because it would just be me. And I wouldn't have the wonderful world-class coaches like Matthew supporting me, improving their service, making your experience better on this program. So I'm glad you felt supported, mate, because that's what we always try to do, is go above and beyond and allow you to feel supported. Mate, that was your one hesitation, right? It was just, are you going to get the support and the touch points that you didn't get last time?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, it's literally sort of, am I going to be getting what I'm paying for? Basically, was obviously what I was concerned about at the time. And, you know, like I said, I was slightly traumatized from a previous experience. So, yeah, no, I definitely did get me value for money. That's for certain.
I love that. So Matthew, Dave's been one of our best guys. He's come and he's smashed. He's worked hard. He's always showed up. He's always there, listening, learning. Anything else to add?
I just, all I want to say is I thank you, because actually it's really nice when you work with people who are interested, who want to get things done. And like you said, when you had a question, you came and you asked, and it makes for a really like positive, nice working relationship. So just thank you for all your hard work. I am actually genuinely sad to see you go. Like, I do mean it. And hopefully, as I say, in a few months' time, or whenever it is you feel like you want to maybe do something even more than you've done now, as I say, then we can get things rolling again, mate.
Get things going.
This is, how can I put this? This is a catch you later, not a goodbye.
Yeah.
100%. Listen, life happens, right? And in life, situations change, and right now you've got to take care of other business, and then when you're ready, we can come back and listen. There's always gonna be a David Webb shaped hole, you know, waiting back and fill whenever you want to come and fill it. Now, lastly, we haven't really spoken. There's two more things on before you do wrap up today. You come in, mate, you've lost 10.5 kilograms, 22 pounds, you've just smashed it, right? Awesome work. But what have you gained? What have you got? Right? How is your life different now compared to what it was back in December, and when you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize yourself?
Yeah, so I think I'd said to you at the start, you know, the weight is kind of more of a measuring stick than the goal. The gain from it was always about basically feeling better, getting the energy back, and then just improving the physique, you know, week by week, month by month, to get back to where I want to be. So the gain from it is I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident. It's nice knowing I need to, you know, start restocking my wardrobe for better clothes and not having stuff that's got to hide things anymore. That's definitely a gain. And just feeling a lot more confident, you know, as well. My, you know, my partner has mentioned as well that, you know, she's definitely noticed the change. I said, you know, I think we could all say it's always an added bonus when your partner notices the physical changes.
Yeah, who doesn't want to be more attractive to their partner? Who doesn't want that? who does want to have more energy, who does want to have more confidence. Like everybody on the planet wants more, right? Wants to feel better about themselves. And I say this all the time. I'm glad the number on the scale was never really the true. It was just a measuring stick. It wasn't the goal for you, because that should never be the goal. You becoming better, more confident, happier, healthier. That's the goal. Understanding nutrition, understanding what to put in your body, when to put it in, and why you're putting it in. Right. This is what we do. It's never just about losing weight and standing and looking on a scale and seeing a certain number on a scale. It's always so much more than that, mate. And you come in, you literally smashed it, mate. So my last question to you is this: anybody watching this video, right, and they're thinking, oh, it's okay for David, he's been able to lose weight, it's not going to work for me, and they're sitting on the fence and they're hesitant, like you were 6 months ago, what advice can you give them?
So my advice would definitely be just trust in the process. Just have faith in the coaches and the program, and have belief in yourself that you can do it as well. Above all else, the guys will be there to support you every step of the way, every day of the week, rain or shine. And yeah, that's basically it. It's like I said, just believe in yourself and believe in the process.